There was also distinctive marks on the soles of his boots, which, like we said before, matched the plaster cast footprints from the Ralph Calisi murder case. So they're onto that now. FBI have corroborated that evidence, said that yes, that is 100% the case. They are the same. And the blood type is this. Also, when they cut the boots open, which they hadn't done earlier, they cut the boots open on October 26th, and the technicians found that there was even more blood sort of inside the boot. So there must have been so much blood for it to be soaked up.
Yeah.
It was in the inner lining of the shoe.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of freaking blood, right?
Sounds like he was swimming in it.
Yeah.
Shit.
But the thing about this was blood type A positive is the blood type of Ralph Calisi. So the blood type matches the dude. Also, the handcuffs that were taken from Robert Little's home, which you asked before, why would they take the handcuffs?
Yeah.
They took the handcuffs, and these were actually quite intriguing pieces of evidence. The handcuffs that were found, the marks on them were consistent with the same marks that were left on Ralph Calisi's wrists as well. So, So I don't know how... I suppose it's like anything, right? Like any piece of metal or anything like that, anything.
Yeah.
None of it is identical. Even though they probably try and make it as identical as possible, but it's not. So they found that the marks matched, and as we said before, the tires on the truck also matched as well. A preliminary hearing was held on October 28th, 1983, and this is where things get a little bit juicy. So various witnesses described the evidence connecting Larry to Ralph's murder, and he was held over for trial. These fireworks are so annoying and so distracting. This is going to be such a ball ache to edit for the sheer fact of how many bangs and booms I'm going to have to take out of this. Really didn't think this through, Alan.
Sorry, guys.
So he's jailed in lieu of $500,000 bond, which in the 80s is a lot of freaking money.
Isn't that like pushing $1 million?
Maybe. The law enforcement officers from across the 4 countries were all very happy about this. Obviously, they were like, yes, we finally fucking caught him. He's gone down for good.
Can I just say this? I have a feeling it's not him.
Do you really?
Yeah, the way you're going with this.
Why?
The way you're telling it.
Why?
I just have a feeling.
No, it might be him.
Okay.
It could be him. It probably is him.
I have a feeling.
Well, Alan, the thing was about this whole this thing is the trial was very interesting. There was attorney David Shippers was acting as Larry Eyler's defense lawyer, and he would proceed to tear apart all and any evidence that had been seized throughout the investigation. He poked like a ton of holes in the prosecutor's case, including why was Larry initially released if the boot evidence definitively incriminated him? Remember, you asked the question, why would he be released? Very good question. It makes the whole investigation look very shoddy if that's the case, and it puts that evidence...
It tarnished the evidence a little bit, yeah.
Totally tarnishes the evidence. Because it's like, well, if that evidence was so definitively incriminating at that time, why did you let him go of that evidence? Why... if it was so easily dismissed back then, why is it all of a sudden more important now? Kind of. Larry himself took the stand on January 24th, and he admitted that he gave consent for the officers to search his pickup, and that he claimed that he only did so as he feared he would be held in jail until he agreed. So, like I said before, he said that he said that they let him do it because he kind of thought they were going to do it anyway. In court, he says that they thought they were going to pretty much arrest him if he didn't let him do it. He also apparently on trial comes across very confused and frightened. Very manipulative, maybe. Or maybe he was very confused and frightened, Alan. Who knows? I know. You don't know.
I think I'm right. I think I know.
Larry said he agreed to every single thing the police had asked for simply in a bid to win his release. So essentially, all of the things that he had agreed to and confirmed with them and all that sort of thing, he's saying, I just did it because I thought they were going to just arrest me and they were keeping me there for so long. He's playing that card, baby. State Police Corporal David Hawkins admitted that the search warrant they had for Robert Little's home was lost overnight and was apparently misfiled at the courthouse. So, when they went to the house with the actual warrant this time, and they felt like they were like, yeah, we've got the warrant, we're going to do this right, we're going to go, we're going to find all the evidence, And in that evidence,
So
they
that
found
evidence is invalid now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, even if there was a warrant in place at the time of the search, without being able to find it, the entire
There's no
search...
proof of the wasn't. Yeah.
Exactly. It seems also that the evidence was obtained illegally, because you can't search...
Yeah, without a warrant.
Yeah, you can't search a warrant, and the evidence would be illegal. So it's not looking good for the trial or the police department at this point in time, even though it feels to me like they've done the best that they can, in all fairness. Had a few little slip-ups, may not have been the perfect investigation. Seems like they've probably done the best of what they can. I don't know if this place...
I think some people need to be sacked in that place.
Well, I don't know if this place is like prime for murders. Sometimes like it could be the case where, they're not used to... they may have had like a gunshot in a bar or something like that, or a man killing his wife at home, but for a full-on serial killer,
kind
maybe
of like a fish out of water.
Yeah, maybe some police departments aren't made for that.
Yeah.
Or, they've not got the training for that, no experience in it, so they have no fucking idea how to deal with a serial killer.
Potentially.
Yeah, I think it's possible. It's a possible thing. So the Dobrovolskys, okay? You got John and his wife, Sally, the one who's he was having an affair with Larry behind her back. They both came forward, stating that the police had actually barged into their home without warrants or permission on October 3rd. John recalled that Sergeant Roy Lamprich not only rejected Larry's plea for an attorney, but also ordered John not to call one. So I don't know how true that is, but whatever story that they're saying is really not making the police look good.
It's not.
It's making them look like they've said you cannot have an attorney. They've broke in illegally, took evidence illegally, held people against their will illegally for a long amount of time.
Yeah,
it's making them look very, very bad.
Can I ask, what did his wife also come up as well?
I don't know.
Did she
Maybe
know?
she was in denial. Maybe she did know. I don't really know. Maybe the relationship was, complicated.
Maybe.
Change that status on Facebook. Relationship status, complicated.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. My husband is gay and having an affair with a serial killer.
And then again, it could be bisexual.
It could be polyamorous.
Yeah, it could be a
relationship.
bisexual polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, maybe. On February 2nd, Judge Block, Alan, ruled that there had been no justification for jailing Larry on September 30th or for searching his pickup. Every single act that followed that was a direct consequence of the seemingly illegal arrest and detention. So, from the initial point of it, from those bits of evidence and those acts now being deemed illegal, everything else that followed from that as a consequence is irrelevant.
Doesn't it still all fall down to the jury, though?
I think maybe, but if the judge is saying this, maybe the evidence is there.
Yeah, because even though that evidence is technically no longer evidence, it still is evidence, if that makes sense. So the jury, if I was on the jury, it would be like, yeah, but I still know there's handcuffs caused by marks. I still know there's blood in his shoes. I still know he has a blood-stained knife. Do you get what I mean?
No, I do get what you mean, yeah, but I don't know whether or not... I've never been in that sort of situation where those things happen, so I don't know if the judge can sort of demand the jury remove that from the justification of it, right? And I've never been on jury duty, so I don't know if maybe each jury member has to give their reasons why or explain themselves. And I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But yeah, either way, Larry was free. And he immediately up sticks and settled in Chicago. For the police, Alan, there was nothing they could do but watch him go. Do you think they made a big mistake or justice was served?
The police made a massive mistake.
Maybe not the police. Maybe the judge in the sentencing.
No, the judge didn't make a massive mistake. I don't think.
So he was right in letting him go free.
Hear me out.
Okay.
A judge has to go by the law, and if the evidence is no longer evidence and you have to discard that. I think the judge made the right call in based on all the information he was given and the incompetence of the police as well. I think he's doing his job, and I think he's done it by law.
I guess all that comes down to in those situations is one person's made a better argument than another person.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it is. And the other person just so happened to make a better argument.
Yeah.
What I would say, Alan, is it was a big mistake. A grave mistake, Alan. As at 6 a.m. on August 21st, 1984, the janitor of an apartment house on West Sherman Street in Chicago was setting out to prepare his building's garbage dumpster for the morning pickup. So just going to check up the garbage. He found it overflowing with grey plastic trash bags and decided to remove some of them. So much like ours are in our apartment, bin bags are a little bit too high, takes them down. And in the process, one bag slipped from his grasp and fell to the pavement. When it burst open, it revealed a severed human leg inside. Police were called and found that the other trash bags held the further dismembered remains of a young white male whose body cut into 8 pieces. Witnesses, neighbours and people around recalled watching a tenant at the house next door deposit the bags around 3:30 p.m. on August 20th. The man, Alan, was identified as Larry Eyler. He was the dude. Police raided his apartment. Police raided his apartment at 7 a.m. and caught him in bed with John Dobrovolsky. So him and John were still hitting it hard, getting those home runs.
I reckon he knew.
John?
Yeah.
Maybe.
For him to come forward like that.
For him to be in the same bed, in the same apartment where...
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. And then also in the court, for him to come forward and defended him.
Yeah.
I think he's...
He knew?
Yeah.
Potentially. Larry was jailed for questioning while the dumpster remains were sent to the Chicago Police Department's crime lab. There, they identified the remains as belonging to 16-year-old Danny Bridges. That's so far. I think there's been 2 16-year-olds this dude's killed. I think luckily this is the last one he'll ever kill. The fingerprints that were lifted from the trash bags matched Larry's, and he was formally charged with first-degree murder at 8 p.m. So finally, we get a fucking murder charge going the way.
Can I ask, though, is he only going to get charged with one murder, though?
Well, again, this is where things get interesting. The trial for this is quite interesting. There's some bits which are very not interesting and very back and forth and very boring, which, as you would imagine...
As most trials would be.
It could be. So I've sort of skipped over that a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I will mention some little important tidbits.
Isn't it tidbits?
Titbits. I say titbits. New frosted titbits.
What? Frosted titbits? What
Yummy,
is that?
scrummy, and delicious. New for kids. Try titbits now.
One of your 5 a day.
Yes. So there was more evidence found in Larry's apartment, including numerous blood stains all over the apartment, which again, this John Dobrovolsky guy, it's not looking good on him. The fact they were in the same bed with each other and all this shit was in the apartment. Numerous blood stains, a box of trash bags matching those from the alley, which the body was in.
Yep.
And a hacksaw. And also a T-shirt owned by Danny Bridges.
Oh, okay.
I think this situation is a little bit like... what was that? The German thing from like the 1920s. I can't remember the guy's name that we talked about, but it was one of the previous episodes where it was like the guy and the guy were living together and they were having little rendezvous with some other people and then they would murder them.
Yes.
I can't remember his name, but it's like that, the Vampire of Hanover, right? I know his AKA name, but I don't know his real name.
I know exactly who you're on about, yeah.
Yeah, I think this was kind of maybe like that situation.
Maybe.
But let's just say allegedly. That's a law term, right? That's a law term, right? You say you don't want to get sued by people, right? We just say allegedly and everything's gone
Allegedly,
away.
yeah.
Allegedly.
Everything on this podcast is allegedly.
No, some of it is true. Some of it is true. Most of it is true. But the bits where we say allegedly, that is allegedly. So we don't get sued. With this whole thing coming together, though, the police had learned from their previous mistakes. The evidence against Larry was tight. They had him. And this time, Alan, he wasn't going anywhere.
Good.
The prosecutors wanted to seek the death penalty, and David Shippers, you know the guy who represented Larry in the first one, who got him, I was going to say who got him off, but...
You are right, he got him off.
He got him off.